And Brock says, I didn't know the Vikings still existed. To which Ash replies, they mostly live in Minnesota.
In Minnesota. That was in the movie.
The NFL is canonical to the Pokemon universe.
The NFL is canonical.
It took us 34 weeks to get here, but it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Today on To Kill a Delibird, your favorite Pokemon rewatch podcast, we are taking a look at Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. So strap in, this is going to be a hefty one. I'm Kellan as usual, and joining me alongside this massive ride this week with you and me, it's my co-host Graham. Graham, how you doing?
I've got COVID. I'm dying. No, I'm gonna be okay.
It's unfortunate, but yeah.
Put me in one of those human-sized test tubes like Mewtwo's in. That looks nice.
Yeah,
looks
bathing in chicken soup.
That's what it is? It's
I
like
think so.
Neurofluid. Generic neurofluid. They have it in all the animes. I wonder if they buy it at the same store. Great Western branded, or Western Values or whatever branded. Great Value. That's what it's called, the Walmart brand.
No, it's you gotta go no name. The yellow packaging, and it just says biofluid. Biofluid, yeah.
Bio baby sauce fluid. Just buy it in giant tubs. That'd be glorious.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you got COVID, but thankfully it has not inhibited your voice in any way, so we can still talk about the movie. Which
yes,
I want to talk about this movie.
I'm excited. I'm excited to do this. This is a meatloaf of an episode, a packed meatloaf.
Well, it's not even an episode.
Full
or are you
of
talking about
cheese,
us?
Full of onions. I guess I'm talking about us. You're right. It's not an episode.
Yeah.
It's a movie. We made it to the movie, and boy, what a movie this is. This is such a big movie. You haven't buried the lead yet, but we are most likely, I'll eat my tongue if this changes as we're going, most likely going to be doing this in 2 episodes. It is roughly the length of 4 episodes, of 4 Pokemon anime episodes. So we're going to treat this with diligence and give it the celebratory fervor that it deserves.
Give it the TKaD treatment, not brush over anything.
Yes, give it the real,
just because of its length.
The real TKaD premium spa treatment. We're gonna oil it up. We're gonna rub its back. We're gonna scent it with nice aromas and play classical music in the background.
Can we get that as fan art? Mewtwo and Mew, spa buddies.
Mewtwo and Mew on a spa day. Yes, that
I'm writing
be so
it down.
Good. And you know what? After diving a bit more into Pokemon the first movie, even that a notion of Mewtwo finding Mew and finding happiness makes me want to cry. That would be so nice.
Oh, I won't lie. There are some moments in this movie where I get a little emotional. I think they tackle a pretty existential topic, and they do it pretty well for a children's movie.
Yeah, I think it's better than I would have thought, actually. It's definitely an anime, it's definitely a 90s anime, and it comes with a lot of that. What I always liked about anime and what drew me to it as a teenager is they were tackling sort of weirder ideas than Western media was, like what is existence, right? I felt like we didn't get stuff as head on. So 90s anime like Neon Genesis Evangelion was really influential because it was just such a mind trip. And while Pokemon, the first movie, is definitely toned down a bit from some of those things, it still has that weirdness, it still has that heaviness to it. That's it makes you think.
Yeah.
Really makes you think, man.
Spoiler alert, I think the main message of the movie is all about existentialism and circumstances surrounding birth.
Yeah.
We'll get more into that as we get into the actual movie.
So if we do this episode halfway, it's going to end on a cliffhanger. I saw a movie recently that ended on a cliffhanger, and I did not know it was going to. Now, do you think it's okay for me to say what movie it is? Is that a spoiler, knowing that a movie ends on a cliffhanger?
I think in a way it is. Is it like a movie that just came out?
It is not in theaters anymore, but it was in theaters this year.
Okay. I would say, listener beware, if you don't want to hear this, skip ahead 1 minute in your podcast feed of choice.
Okay. That being said, I feel like most of our listeners won't care. It is
Probably
Fast
not.
10. Okay.
Oh yeah.
The 10th Fast and Furious movie ends on a cliffhanger. It ends with like a huge action set piece, and then it just cuts. And like there's no resolution. So it's like a part 1, I guess. But there was
So they're
nothing
making
in
an 11th. Jesus Christ.
no, they're making a 10 part 2. like Final
I'm pulling
Fantasy
a fan
10
in Final
2.
Fantasy.
Yeah. But like there's nothing in the marketing saying it's a part 1. So I was like, what the hell? I like screamed at the TV. I was like, what the fuck?
That's the way to do it, I think.
Just
You go into a
debate,
part
yeah.
1. Yeah, I think that's how a cliffhanger works when you're
Yeah.
not expecting it.
Yeah.
If you go into Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows part 1, you know that it's ending on a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
You're not expecting a resolution, but when you're expecting a full cycle
I think
story,
I might have been...
and it baits you like that. That's just I mean that leaves you thinking, oh shit, I gotta watch another movie.
I think I might have been more okay with it if it wasn't Fast and Furious. Like if it was like a big
unexpected
epic series or like a fantasy series or something with a lot of continuity, I would be like, okay, that's great. But when I watch those movies, like I just want to shut off my brain for like 2 hours. You know, I wasn't like, like what the heck?
Yeah, they're not that deep from what I know.
Someone on the staff thinks they are, though. That's the weird part. Someone in there, I think Vin Diesel thinks that they're masterpieces, and everybody else is like, man, these movies are wild.
Okay.
Oof. So that's what I've done lately. Got COVID and watched Fast 10, which is ending was the movie equivalent to COVID.
Just a wet blanket.
Yeah. Okay. You know, we got some feedback recently that the comedy lists are great, but someone wanted to hear another story, you know, really amped up. Compliment me, and that's how you'll get things. So we got a little...
Graham's ego, everybody.
Stroke my ego. Yeah, I'm a big narcissist. So we do have a little bit of a skit here to kind of lead into our discussion of the movie. Now, we've got 2 characters in this dialogue. There's Mewtwo, and should I reveal the name of the other already?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, so there's Mewtwo, and there's another creature who was created named MewThree, okay? Now, one of us is going to voice Mewtwo, the other's going to voice MewThree. We are going to flip a coin here to see who voices which.
Winner chooses their character?
Sure.
Yeah, call it.
Okay, heads.
It's tails. So I'm gonna choose.
Pick.
I think I'm gonna go with MewThree. I think you can do the brooding dark voice a little better. I think I can hit the Canadian accent.
All right, sounds good. Open scene. This is the narrator. A dark passageway under a Team Rocket fortress. Mewtwo is brooding. Life, the great mystery, the randomness of a cold universe. Why do we exist? Another creature walks up. This creature looks similar to Mewtwo, but is wearing square glasses, a Hawaiian button-up shirt, khaki shorts, and a name tag that says MewThree.
Well, hey there, Mewtwo. Just trying to finish up Team Rocket's tax filings for this fiscal. Do you have any receipts for your travel expenses from that trip you took last week?
Last week? 7 days. Each day is torture, and torture can make the mind tremble. A weak mind, that is. Each day my psychic powers grow. The answers you seek stem from a question few would ask. Does the Caterpie ask the Pidgey for proof of its actions, or does it get devoured in silence?
Always the jokester. Good old Tui. Well, that's okay if you lost the receipts. We'll just take the base cost for what you spend on an average trip and go from there. You should really check this sort of thing in the future. My mutant accountancy powers are good, but they can't pull numbers from thin air. Say, Dewey, my pal, you were traveling to that other Pokemon research lab, right? Did you get me a souvenir?
Souvenir? Souvenir? I destroyed the lab! A wasteland is all that remains.
Oh, jeez. Well, this took a heavier turn. Really? Well, okie dokie, we can work with this. That lab is actually a Team Rocket subsidiary. We're gonna have to make an insurance claim. You count as a force of nature, right? I think this could go under a weather-based accidents policy.
Accident? Accident? The very height of human hubris was brought to its knees. I, Mewtwo, brought justice, and forced humanity to stare at itself in a merciless mirror. Each lost life was a necessary sacrifice for the greater good of the universe.
Oh, jeez, this is a real humdinger. Alright, well, so we can continue with the claim, but it is property damage with collateral resulting in loss of life. The insurance provider will want a full audit. I'll work with Giovanni to get the process started on the executive side. Well, just when I was hoping to get a vacation. Oh well, accountancy doesn't sleep and neither do I. You don't make the process easier though, do you, Mewtwo? I'll email you the consent forms to acknowledge the claim. The provider accepts these signatures. You still use that Yahoo email account, right, Dewey?
Silence! This foolishness has gone on long enough. One more word and I'll make you unable to talk for a fortnight.
That's a little drastic. That sort of talk is against company policy, you know. The finance department is crucial to any criminal empire. Alright, my dear Tui, time to get serious. I'll have to file a complaint with HR. Oh yeah, speaking of HR, you remember Debbie from the talent department? She just had another kid. The baby's cute. I'll send you a picture. What's that Yahoo address again?
Ah! Boom!
Boom!
Explosion. Silence. Mewtwo has destroyed the place. Mewtwo flies away, leaving destruction behind him. Out of the rubble, MewThree shakes off dust, patting his shirt down and clearing his glasses.
Oh hell, this is an issue. I wonder if we should file these two property damage claims separately or as a joint submission. I'll have to review the policy again. There must be some discrepancies to account for. Account for? Get it? Because I'm an accountant? Oh, a tough crowd. Oh, jeez. Dewey killed everyone. Well, that's more loss of life for the claim to cover. How much coverage did Giovanni purchase anyway? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I haven't had this much work since I documented my own creation. Well, they say life is a puzzle and accounting is the pinnacle of problem solving, so I'll just give my old accounting friends a call and we'll go from there, I guess.
MewThree keeps rambling about clerical finance as
Did
the
I file that
camera
401k?
zooms away.
Did I do my income tax yet? I'm pretty sure I did my income tax.
End scene.
I think I'll get that money back. I'm looking at a couple grand, I think, this year.
Yeah, you get a GST check.
I feel like my voice changed like 4 times throughout.
I don't know if that was like Canadian or Irish, some
Yeah,
points, but I liked it. I liked it.
It's both with a little Gaelic in there.
Oh yes. All right, that is our rendition of the screenplay, MewThree, the Ultimate Accountant. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
is this like your headcanon of what caused the explosion at the Team Rocket headquarters we've seen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a character that was off camera all the time named MewThree. He actually is in lots of different scenes. If people like this, maybe we'll push him into other scenes in the background.
You know what their dynamic reminds me of, Mewtwo and MewThree? Stitch and the other Stitch-like alien that just likes to make sandwiches.
And wait, and Stitch is the one that has sometimes he goes back into like alien mode. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stitch goes crazy, I'm pretty sure. It's been a hot minute since I've seen Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, I don't remember, but
Stitch is like crazy. And there's another Stitch that's like, or a Stitch like alien. It's like a relative or something.
Right.
That just likes to make sandwiches. That's all he really wants to do.
Or Vegeta and Goku. Super powerful aliens. One of them's brooding serious. One of them's like, let's just eat rice, guys. So
should we get into the movie?
Yeah, let's dive into this. So how we're gonna do this is we are gonna be stopping at various points to do 4 pours. So that's our regular way of ranking the episodes. We're gonna give this movie multiple rankings since there's the equivalent of 4 anime episodes, in screen time here. And it's denser than your typical Pokemon anime episode anyways. So we're going to go over this with probably the same level of scrutiny as we would a regular episode. So you'll still get the same amount of literary hours and 4 pours. Spare no expenses for our paying audience. Right?
So we're starting off the first movie with, it starts off with 2 prologues. There is the original prologue that is just a part of the movie as a base. There's also one before that called The Uncut Story of Mewtwo's Origin, which was not originally part of the film. It came out later. The only time it came out in the West, I believe, was on the DVD of Mewtwo Returns, which is an anime special that takes place sometime in the Johto arc of the anime. And that's the only way the West ever got it, I'm pretty sure. Thankfully, I have that DVD, so I could. But yeah, you can't get a hold of it anymore, so it's a little tougher to find. But if you have that DVD, it's on there as a bonus feature. But it is a prologue to Mewtwo Strikes Back, so we're going to cover that and the normal prologue that was aired in theaters. Now, if you saw it in theaters way back when, in ancient times, there was another, not a prologue, but another short called Pikachu's Vacation. We're not going to be covering that today. We're kind of talking about maybe doing is taking all of the Pikachu shorts, because there's a lot of them, and it's kind of bunching them up together and doing them at once sometime down the road. So we're not going to talk Pikachu's Vacation, regardless of how cute it is, because it is very cute. We're going to start off with Prologue 1, the uncut story of Mewtwo's origin. Are you ready?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Beautiful. So, it's August 6th. We're listening to a journal entry. A group of researchers are exploring a dense jungle looking for an ancient civilization that may have created a shrine to Mew, the most powerful Pokemon to exist, thought to be extinct at this point. But we see it ain't extinct. It's flying around, and we love Mew.
Yeah, we get this beautiful view of like a heavy jungle. You can already feel it. The animation quality here is much higher than a typical episode, right?
Yeah.
Like instantly, just the amount of foliage and kind of how you feel like you're in the jungle.
Foliage?
What is that word?
Foliage.
Foliage, thank you.
It took me a couple seconds to realize what you said there.
Yeah, of the jungle, and you can feel the humidity, even the sound design. There's lots of kind of chirping. It's very atmospheric. There's monkeys running by. Well, I guess they're mankeys, right? So mankeys run by, and then yeah, Mew's following. There's already a Mew here, and you were about to kick us off. What exactly is Mew?
Mew is this little cat-like Pokemon.
He's like a hairless cat, but imagine that's cute.
It's pink, it's small, it's got a really long tail, and it just likes to be a little jokester. That's what it really
he has
likes
the
to do.
personality of a happy kitten. Yeah.
Fucking love Mew.
Totally.
Mew is so cute. Did you know, I don't know if this is confirmed, that Mew may have originally been based on a like an embryo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And this pretty much only comes from its original sprite from Red and Green. Have you seen that?
No.
I'm sending it to you right now.
Huh. I would not have thought of that. Well, even looking at this, I don't know if I personally see that. I don't know if about its embryo,
sprite,
but it is supposed to look kind of immature. Like it's supposed to look like a kitten. Right?
Yeah.
Like before they're really grown at all. It has a very newborn look. Like fur not really come in, that kind of thing. And I know lots of animals are born with fur, but but that is kind of what it looks like, right? And it's supposed to have, I think it's supposed to have a purity to it as a result. Like this is like the purest kind of most innocent life. Like just like raw
innocence.
Life, raw creation right there.
Yeah. But I do think its original like design philosophy did change between Red and Green and the enhanced blue that they released, because it is a very different design.
Yeah, this red green
sprite.
one I'm looking at, so that'd be the original Japanese release. Looks like a strange little rat. It's like a shrunken fuzzy rat thing. I'm
glad they changed it, because our modern Mew is cute and we love it.
And it lives on in myth, though. Like, so although researchers are looking for a shrine, they know that it's the most powerful Pokemon ever existed. This is all just myth, right? So they said believed to have been extinct. They know kind of Mew, but they don't really know what Mew is.
Yeah, it's all a legend. It's from an ancient civilization. We get some backstory that Giovanni funded this expedition, that the researchers are on the stipulation that they find some Mew DNA to create an enhanced clone of Mew and make the most powerful Pokemon to ever exist. Which they do find a fossil, which they believe to be Mew.
And this is pretty important, this piece of information. That's how he kind of got researchers on board, is he's funding all of this, but with that stipulation that they have to make a replica of Mew. The researcher who's narrating says Giovanni wants to control it. The researcher wants more, quote unquote. More about the animation, though. There's these beautiful shots of a bunch of Butterfree flapping away. Did you catch that?
I did not.
It's like the best Sakuga we've gotten in anything in this series yet, and it's just like a throwaway, like 3 seconds of some Butterfree flapping their wings, but it's like very good. So the ancient ruins, right? They get to the ruins, and we see the depiction of Mew carved in stone. They talk about the shadow of
Yes,
Mew,
yes.
and they find the Mew. They find something that they think is a Mew fossil, and it's this a glowing green fish bone that they're saying has the secret to restoring life itself. The carving of Mew itself was cool because it's like almost sprite like, eh? It's like, oh,
Mhm.
that's like a video game Mew. The ancient Mayans invented sprite art.
Well, that depiction of Mew also showed up on a very limited edition Pokemon card, I believe.
Oh, cool. Okay.
The an ancient Mew Pokemon card. I'm gonna look that up to see
Ooh, I
its
like it.
value out of curiosity. Yeah, ancient Mew promo piece, which goes for actually not as much as I thought. It's about $30 maybe.
Huh.
Never mind. I thought it was a lot more.
Said it was like Pokemon cards can go for a lot of money, right?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of like a first edition Charizard.
How much does
levels.
that go for?
Great question. Let's take a look. See. On price starting ungraded $1,900.
Whoa. Okay.
Grade 7 bumps it up to 7,400.
Wow. That's
I don't know what
ridiculous.
these grades mean, but PSA 10 is $36,000.
Oof. Okay. Well, that's
Which I
ridiculous.
assume that means in mint condition.
So back at the lab.
So yeah, back at the lab, they're doing these sciencey things.
Sciencey things.
With,
Huge,
tubes
huge
and liquids and
computers straight out of Neon Genesis Evangelion. This is 90s anime as heck. I love this lab.
And we see a little Mewtwo in a bubble.
Yeah, little baby.
We've gone into the little bubble world. He's in his tube. The scientists talk about how, like the other clones, hasn't gained consciousness, despite there is brain activity and strong vital signs.
So we're inside this new creature, this young Mewtwo's mental world, and he is thinking. Although the scientists are saying it's not conscious, but he's thinking already. He's saying, "Where am I? Who am I? What am I?"
Very confused.
Which is Mewtwo's theme. Mewtwo's theme song. Where am I? What am I? Who am I?
And so a little girl comes up and talks to him, still in his head. She is shocked to see a Pokemon talking, but little Mewtwo doesn't know what either a Pokemon or a person is. Because she asks him, are you a Pokemon or are you a person? So you look like a Pokemon, but you're talking like a person.
Yes.
Mewtwo doesn't know what those are.
He's like, and what am I? The nice thing is that the little girl doesn't care if Mewtwo's a Pokemon or a person.
She doesn't give a shit.
But this
She just wants to be
Mewtwo,
friends.
she recognizes regardless you're the same as us. Ooh, us.
And so the researchers realize that Mewtwo and Amber 2, they say, are communicating with each other via telepathy. And then we look at this test tube like Mewtwo's, except there's like this glowing orb in it. It's not something tangible. It's just this glowing thing floating in the middle of this tube. And this doctor guy just goes, soon.
Yeah, he's a creepy scientist, long nose, glasses.
And so back in the bubble world, Amber 2 explains this to Mewtwo. They're all clones. Every single Pokemon in here, plus her, are clones of the originals. Then we go back. It's a lot of back and forth here. Because then the doctor kind of begs for his theories to be true, to see his little girl smile again. So piecing together the story, it's pretty obvious this girl is the doctor's kid, right?
Yeah, and she says, even to Mewtwo, she says, I'm Amber too, but I'm still really Amber. So
yeah,
the idea is that this scientist lost his daughter and could not cope and was kind of searching for the secret of life to bring her back. And he got somewhere. We don't really know how this happened, but to some extent, like her soul or something comparable to that is being kept in this life fluid and is communicating with Mewtwo.
You see this in a good old-fashioned black and white flashback.
Yeah.
He has basically extracted her consciousness somehow.
Yes.
And is keeping it stable in this tube, trying to find a way to bring her back to life. This causes his wife to leave him because he can't move on.
Yeah, she's gone. Why are you doing this? You're
Yeah.
tearing us apart, science man. Do they ever give
You're
him a
tearing
name?
me apart, Lisa. No.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. I don't think they explicitly say, but on like character sheets and in subtitles, credits and stuff, he is Dr. Fuji.
Oh, Dr. Fuji. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you made a room reference there, because as we were going through all of this, I'm like, this is so serious. I don't know how we can make jokes. That's how.
I thought
Good.
that's what you were
Good.
going for with your tearing me apart.
I didn't think of it. Maybe it's just part of me now. It's part of the ethos.
It's a part of all of us.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the present. The clones seem to be stable and are set to awake any day. But the Dr. Fuji is only interested in the knowledge this will give him in order to bring his daughter back to the
Right.
world. And then boom, 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 back to the bubble world, baby. The clones are... I didn't bring it up, but the clones, Mewtwo and Amber 2, are joined by a clone of Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. And so they're all there. They're all buddies. They're all friends. Now they're exploring Amber 2's old neighborhood. And she teaches Mewtwo all about nature. The sun, the moon, the stars. It's very sweet. Very
Oh
cute.
yeah, this is very atmospheric. So it's this kind of grayish green dream town that she's like floating them through, kind of Disney style. She's saying that, oh, I used to live here. It's a, idyllic town. When she's teaching Mewtwo about these concepts about the real world, so that's the sun, this is the wind. Like more life is being kind of brought into the scene, so suddenly color appears. And then when the wind blows, okay, things are moving, and then they see the sunset. And she teaches Mewtwo what the moon and the stars are, because he sees the moon and he's like, "Is that a sun?"
No, Mewtwo, you dumb fuck. It's the moon, you idiot.
Yeah,
Jesus
he's really
Christ.
much that meme of the anime guy pointing to the butterfly. Is
Is this
this
a
a
pigeon?
sun? Yeah.
But suddenly, Charmander 2 starts to fade away,
Oh,
followed
God.
by Bulbasaur 2 and Squirtle 2.
Oh no.
These clones, back in the real world, we learn these clones have failed. They are no longer viable as Amber starts to sparkle like Bulbasaur and the gang. Her consciousness fades. The doctor has lost her for good.
Okay, here's a question. Do you think that they didn't include this in the theatrical release because it wasn't made yet? Or do you think they didn't include it because, like, you don't usually see death in Pokemon? So they, like, kept it for a bit.
I'm pretty confident it wasn't made yet.
Okay. I think you're right, but something about this, like, it's right off the bat, like having creatures die, I thought was like a major level of heaviness that doesn't usually come.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so according to Bulbapedia, the uncut story of Mewtwo's origin is a 10-minute prologue added to the beginning of the full version of Mewtwo Strikes Back. Internationally, it was released as a special feature on the Mewtwo Returns DVD under the title The Uncut Story of Mewtwo's Origin, as I said. It is adapted from parts of the radio drama The Birth of Mewtwo, which in Japan originally aired in the lead-up to the release of the movie.
Ooh.
So, it's based on stuff from before the movie came out. This specifically did not exist until later.
Right. That's pretty neat. Well, so the creatures are dead in their test tubes. Very sad. And then we hear the big news. Doc, we're losing her too.
No.
And then we see in the dream
sad.
world Amber 2 in front of the moon shimmering. And this is like, yeah, I was like, whoa, this is actually making me feel things. And she's saying goodbye. You know, this is Mewtwo's first and only friend, really.
Mm-hmm.
And he's feeling something.
She says that her dad told her a story once that when a Pokemon cries, their tears are full of life. Which, write that down. It's an important tool that will help us later.
She says she has to go, but he says
she fades off.
You should be happy because you're alive and life is wonderful. And then Mewtwo gives out Amber.
Amber. And back in the real world, it starts to get upset about this. They try to erase its memory of these events using a serum, and it seems to have worked. I couldn't really tell if it worked or not.
Well, so yeah, so they're concerned that the Mewtwo distress is going to, cause problems to its growth here, I guess. And so they're administering the serum that's supposed to knock its the memories out. It certainly contains it in this moment, but I don't know if it ever does it ever really lose the memory of Amber? I'm not sure.
I think it kind of hints towards remembering someone.
Yeah.
But it doesn't remember the details.
Doesn't remember the details, but he remembers the feelings. Yeah.
He remembers that he lost a friend and that he's upset about that.
Right.
But Yeah, back in the bubble world, we get more from Mewtwo. Mewtwo has slept for what feels like forever. He remembers somebody. He knows life is wonderful, but he doesn't know why. And that's where the prologue ends. That's where the
Yeah,
uncut
we're prologue
story of
1.
Mewtwo's origin comes to a
Right.
close.
But this flows very nicely into the theatrical prologue. I think that
Mm-hmm.
if we treat this all as one thing, I think we can keep
Oh,
flowing
it
into
works.
it.
It
Yeah, it works.
works.
It works.
Into prologue 2, which doesn't have a name, I don't think. We get some narration from our good old classic narrator about life. It's the great mystery. He says that this tale of the most powerful Pokemon is the strangest tale of them all, which is true. I think Mewtwo has a kind of a weird tail. It kind of wraps into his torso. Kind of strange.
Oh, good one. I was gonna answer you sincerely. I was gonna be like, yeah, it's like not a typical Pokemon story. It's a lot darker in the science aspects. And which Pokemon
Nah.
does have the weirdest tail?
Greninja has the weirdest tongue.
That's true. What about a Tauros tail?
That's not that weird. It's just
kind
a
of
split.
interesting. Yeah,
I think
Mewtwo
Mewtwo's is
might
the
have
weirdest
the
I can think
weirdest
of.
tail. It's just
Yeah.
like a big, weird appendage, hairless appendage.
And so in the lab, we're back at the lab. Mewtwo awakens. He hears voices outside. He must be outside. I must be there. He breaks his tube, and they say they need to radio Giovanni. Giovanni. Which if you didn't watch the previous prologue, that's a reveal. Holy shit.
Whoa.
Dr. Fuji explains to Mewtwo that he is a clone of Mew, and then Mewtwo questions what becomes of him if he is just a clone. They plan to use him in experiments, and Mewtwo, understandably, does not like this one bit.
No.
He does not want to be brought into this world just to be used as a lab dog.
I think there's a lesson here in communication too, and first impressions. So you wake up this creature, and they just first push into its mind you're a copy and you're an experiment, and he says, I'm a copy, and the scientist says, well, you've been improved through human ingenuity, and you're like, this is not empathy, folks.
Is this how Dolly the sheep felt?
Bah. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if Dolly the sheep could
Dolly the sheep have telepathy.
comprehend it.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so cool though.
Well, maybe. Haunting. Dolly strikes back.
So yeah, he doesn't want to be a laboratory specimen. And so logically, he destroys the entire fucking lab.
Humans care nothing for me. He sees in his mind's eye Mew flying over the mountains. This is like a flash, and he goes, am I just one of these experiments? And then psychic waves, boom, destruction,
Woo.
explosion. These robot arms try to contain him, these freaky little robot arms. More explosions, psychic bursts.
He is quite literally a man-made horror beyond any comprehension.
Whew. And the scientist, he's lying down, parts of the lab is in flames, and he goes, we dreamed of creating the strongest Pokemon, and we succeeded.
And then he blows the island up.
Yeah.
Mewtwo,
just
not
a
Dr.
huge beam of blue light. Boom.
Kaboom. And amongst the flame, Giovanni lands in his airplane and speaks to Mewtwo's ego. He wants to be a partner with Mewtwo, and together they can control the world. But Mewtwo doesn't understand why he would need a partner. He's already so fucking
He's like,
strong,
I don't need you. You see this shit? I'm fucking Bala.
But Giovanni's like, I can help you control and focus your powers, and you will become invincible. And Mewtwo's like, hell yeah, dude.
Mewtwo's like, bet. Join me, and we will conquer the universe. Join me, Luke, and we will conquer the galaxy.
And this is where we see the metal sonic armor being applied to him. Boom, boom, boom. Connected to the original episodes. Beautiful.
Yeah. So we're in a Team Rocket lab, I guess. And yeah, we get the metal sonic armor going on. And he's like, armor to protect me? Feels like my powers are suppressed.
Giovanni's like, no, they're not restricting your powers. They're focusing them. Which I don't really understand how that comes across. But
It's a debate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Giovanni puts it through a series of Pokemon-related trials. He kills an Onix, then he levitates a herd of Tauros in the air so that a bunch of Team Rocket grunts can catch them and take them for themselves. Then he kills an Alakazam, and then Magneton, and then Gary's Nidoking and Arcanine, like in that one episode, like in Battle of the Badge. Another
the
connection.
So the battles are happening in the Viridian City gym. So that is the tie into those episodes. When they show Mewtwo, them using the Mewtwo to catch all those Tauros, I was like, well, now Team Rocket has about half as many Tauros as Ash.
Yeah, Ash is still winning in the Tauros
Ash
department.
is still winning. You don't need no Mewtwo.
The Mewtwo, after all of this, is still questioning why he's here, why he exists. Just like
Why am
every
I
college
here?
student.
What is my purpose?
We're all wondering what our purpose
What is my major? What are employment opportunities looking like? Why do my aunts and uncles keep telling me, what can you do with that degree?
Mewtwo, the visual arts student.
Well, it's just about widening horizons in my mind, and don't ask me that.
And I have an art degree, so I'm allowed to make that joke.
I respect the art degree.
I don't. And so Giovanni kind of turns around and stabs Mewtwo in the back, revealing his true purpose. Mewtwo was made to serve humans, and serve him specifically. And he is supposed to obey every order. Mewtwo, again, not liking this, turns on Giovanni and blows up the Team Rocket base like in that other episode we saw. And he goes flying off.
I was not born a Pokemon. I was created, and my creators have used and betrayed me. So, I stand alone. That was a sweet sentence.
He flies off and lands on the island on which he was originally created, vows to find his purpose and destroy everything that opposes him. He says, the reign of Mewtwo will soon begin.
Yeah, and he tears off his armor, so he's butt naked. Isn't that embarrassing?
Mewtwo, put some clothes on. Jesus.
And then we get the title screen.
And that is the end of the prologue.
Pocket Monsters.
Yeah. So, context for this prologue, none of this was originally intended to be a part of the movie.
Oh.
They added this all when they learned that it would be impossible to air the necessary episodes foreshadowing Mewtwo before the movie released because of the Porygon incident delaying the anime for a few months. The original cut of the movie was supposed to just have Mewtwo's first on-screen appearance be later in the movie when he reveals himself to Ash. Spoiler alert, but that happens.
Spoilers.
This is all according to Takashi Shudo, who is the movie's writer.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. Well, that's interesting because this prologue is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. I was like, just as a standalone episode, it's very cool. So I'm going to do a literary hour on what we've seen so far. So this is roughly 20 minutes of prologue into the movie now. But it's heavy with themes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually going to hit on multiple literaries just for different themes that come out of it. Well, not all of these are pieces of literature, but you'll see. So one is this obsession with bringing something back from the dead being a driving motive for a character. This is the scientist. He's trying to bring his daughter back from the dead, and that's really one of the catalysts for a lot of what happens here and the human hubris of it all, trying to defy death. So Full Metal Alchemist, for you weebs out there, very popular anime, manga. But that at the core of it is they're trying to bring, I believe, their mother back to life. And in doing so, the main character, they're two brothers, and one of them loses his arm, and the other loses his whole body and gets bound to a suit of armor for the series. So it has that darkness tied to it as well, but it's that pursuit of bringing back life. Got some other tropes here. Mewtwo turns during this, right? Like we see him as very an innocent kind of force at first, right? He's just trying to figure out what he is, but then he feels that he is being put in such a place where he almost has no choice but to use his power for evil. He's saying, well, if you're going to treat me, like a puppet, well then so be it. I'll show you what I'm about. I'm going to bring the parallels that Jaime Lannister, the character from the Game of Thrones series, kind of feels when people look at him as the Kingslayer. When we learn more about Jaime's backstory, it's revealed that his role in the Kingslaying was very complicated, and as people have sort of mocked him and put him in that position, though, he has kind of reveled in that and just shown himself to be what people think him as. That's sort of what Mewtwo goes throughout this whole thing. Okay, so also the idea of creating a monster to control. So of course, we got to pay our taxes and say Frankenstein, right? That's just you have to bring up Frankenstein. I think even older than Frankenstein, there's the ideas of like the golem, which is like a kind of a old mythology of like a created kind of thing, a created beast sort of thing. But I'm gonna call out the Alien series of movies, of which there are these aliens, the xenomorphs, but there's often like corporations throughout it that are trying to harness the power of xenomorphs, basically breed bioweapons from them that they'd be able to control. And from Giovanni's point of view, that's what he is doing. Yeah, so I think those were the main themes I wanted to press for this. It's not like this is anything new, but it pushes these themes together nicely. It's definitely new for Pokemon, so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
quite a good intro.
Yeah, Frankenstein's the obvious one. That's
Frankenstein is
too easy.
the thing, but
Too easy. All right, so we're gonna foreport just the prologues, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
So this is what we've seen so far, the 20 minutes.
Before we pull a category, one matter of business I want to bring up. I've been thinking about this the last couple days because it came to me, and I want to pitch you another category.
Okay.
So we got some like kind of more difficult categories that require some thought and introspection. I want
Okay.
something very simple. I
Okay.
want a ping pong ball in there that just says Psyduck, right?
Okay.
And this category is just about Psyduck. It's just about our feelings towards Psyduck. How do we feel about Psyduck at this current moment? He doesn't even have to be in the episode. It's just
Okay.
how do we feel about Psyduck?
What happens when Psyduck isn't in the show anymore? It's the Psyduck in our hearts.
Yeah, either it can just still be how we feel about Psyduck. How much do we miss Psyduck? Or we just pull the category out.
Or it's like how badly we have a headache that day. Like
Yeah.
if you got a headache, that's so okay, sure. So you better make that Psyduck question mark.
Psyduck?
Psyduck?
Yeah. Okay, that'll go in there. Anyway, to the foreport. The first category for these prologues is going to be all about how it's not like how the game works.
Ooh, is there Mew in the first games? I know. Well, you couldn't get him by journeying to a shrine. They were like
You had to journey to a Toys R Us.
giveaways. Yeah.
Well, Mew is in the games. There is documentation in the Cinnabar Mansion about failed clones of Mew and creating Mewtwo and Mewtwo being created and his birthday and stuff. So that lines up actually with the
Yeah,
games.
yeah.
There's not really like any game mechanics explored. You can't clone Pokemon.
Right.
That's whatever.
But definitely the vibe of like Mewtwo destroying shit and then going off. Like that is in the game, right? Like then you find him in a cave.
Yeah, you destroyed the mansion, and then you find him in the Cerulean Cave, and he is the most difficult Pokemon in the game, which to capture, which makes sense because he is also fucking broken.
So
That's like a 3
it's
for
pretty
me,
good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good reflection of the game.
which means it's a
we
low
have to
score.
rank it low.
Yep.
Ooh, 2.
2, okay.
Oh God, sorry, movie.
2.5. Well,
It's
that's
just-
fine. We
The
got plenty of
four
others.
is just gonna roast this movie.
That's fine. We got plenty more categories to average it out with.
True.
Second category we rank with the prologues will be the jelly donut effect. So let's take a look at if there were any changes or what changes
Oh,
there
yeah.
were between
From the prologue, though.
from the prologue. This is gonna be
Might be
well,
tough.
interesting.
Yeah.
There's no voiceover for Dr. Fuji's journal at the start. It's just
Okay.
the scientists talking about Mew and recalling legends of Mew, which I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked to have heard.
Yeah.
would've been
No,
cool.
that would be good world building.
And they talk about like what they found the fossil and they should take it back. Oh, in the original, he does not say that he was able to hold on to Amber's consciousness. He says that he electronically replicated her consciousness into a hologram.
Ooh.
So that's way different.
That's cool.
That's a very different vibe. Just a mission of dialogue between Fuji and a scientist. Amber's last words are significantly different. In the original, she says that living beings cry when in pain, but only humans cry from sadness. And in the end, we get the story about Pokemon tears being full
Okay.
of life. But that's
Okay.
it. Mainly dialogue stuff.
This is another one, since it's a fairly good translation. It gets a low score, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the but that's just the Mewtwo origin. Let me take a look quick through the other ones, see which ones I can pin to just the prologue. Giovanni was never mentioned by the scientists in the original. That's really nothing.
Ooh.
There was no alarm sounding Mewtwo's awakening in the Japanese. That's really nothing
Wow,
either.
no alarm? That's so unrealistic. They would definitely have an alarm.
The dialogue in the scene where Dr. Fuji tells Mewtwo about its origins was altered in the English dub. In the original version, Mewtwo asks if Mew is its mother or father, and when Dr. Fuji tells that neither yes or no would be a wrong answer, it asks if it was created by God. To this, Dr. Fuji replies that in this world, the only ones capable of creating life are God and humans, and Mewtwo was created through human science. We
Ooh,
did not get that
I
in the
mean, that
dub.
is such a complex way of
Yeah.
communicating. That's even more unhuman than the scientists in the English version. Okay, these
um,
are kind of interesting.
Giovanni talks about the armor.
You know, the
That's for
essence of
nothing.
the jelly donut effect, though, is more about like if they're kind of glossing over a cultural difference.
I took it as anything interesting, pretty much, which includes
Well, it
that.
is. It is. I guess I should say the origin of the jelly donut effect is that.
Yeah.
Those are interesting ones.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
really
that
all the
you can
interesting ones,
see
according to Bulbapedia.
that the English one kind of trying to be less more secular, kind of,
Hmm.
whereas the English one is making these allusions to yeah, almost like religion in a way.
But I
The
think
Japanese one.
axing the scientists talking about Mew's legends, I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And there is a very different vibe when between Fuji having preserved Amber's consciousness versus electronically replicating it. Like that is a very different thing. I think that's
I think
very
it is
interesting too.
too, because in the English, you don't really get to see what it is that he did to have Amber 2
No,
there. They said she's a copy, but it also kind of seems like he somehow has her soul, like I said, like
the
her
original.
essence
Yeah,
there. But that confirms it is like a synthetic copy, like it is electronic copy.
that's a 6 for me.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say 5. So
Cool.
I mean, there's
That's
definitely some interesting ideas.
It's 2.5 and 5.5, but we're not averaging that yet. We're gonna keep the ping pong balls rolling, if you may,
Oh. The
and
Pokeballs rolling.
and average it with other scores. Not until we're finished the movie. So let's jump into the actual film.
Right.
Mewtwo
So,
Strikes Back.
kicks off here. After those prologues, we get the nice pocket monsters. I was watching where I got I think the Japanese title screen, which looked cool. And then we see on a nice plateau over the water, Ash and the gang cooking a stew.
Oh
Ash
yeah,
determines to be Pokemon Master. He's got a will of steel. And Ash is being lazy as fuck.
but this stew is looking good though.
Oh, baby.
A
Anime
delicious looking
stew.
stew. Brock calls it his lazy boy, I believe. Lazy
Lazy
something
boy,
stew.
no chew stew.
Yeah.
He's like, this will be perfect for you. You don't even need to chew, you piece of shit. Ash is like, I haven't eaten since breakfast. They're having
Ah.
lunch. He's so hungry. And Togepi and Pikachu are playing. That's always so cute. They're always just
I
playing
love it.
around. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love
When a
it.
stranger approaches.
He's looking for an Ash from Pallet Town. And he's
Ooh.
found Ash from Pallet Town
Okay,
and challenges him
who is
to a
this
battle.
guy? Who is this guy? He's got a red bandana on. Does he look like a Team Magma or something like that? What is that? Team Magma? Is that a thing?
Yeah. They're all in red though, so I don't know if I would.
Oh,
Uh,
different color.
yeah. I don't believe we get his name explicitly, but this guy's named Raymond.
Oh, but he's just like a
And
jobber. He's
he's
just
just
your
a
run
random
of the
dude, yeah.
mill. Yeah,
Looking for a fight.
looking for Ash. Ash goes, he's me.
And yeah, they challenge him to a fight, and we get this fight over a remix of the Pokemon theme song, which was awesome. I loved it.
Bum, ba, bum, ba, ba. Yeah, and this is really the opening credits. This is the
Mhm.
Pokemon theme song, and it's just flying.
It's gonna be Bulbasaur versus what's this Pokemon? We haven't seen this one
Ooh,
yet.
I
This is a
wrote down
Dawn fan.
I wrote down rolling elephant thing.
Yeah, that's pretty much
And
it.
this is its premiere, right?
Yeah, I believe so. We have not seen Dawn fan at this point. It is a Gen 2 Pokemon, and so it being in this movie is like, whoa, this is a new reveal.
Oh wow.
And so it is a rolling elephant. It's based on a tire, basically. That's its
What,
design
really? Not an
philosophy. Yeah.
elephant, a tire?
Well, it's an elephant tire.
Oh, okay.
That's why it rolls like that. That's the whole idea.
Oh.
That it wraps its trunk around itself and it's like a wheel.
So do you think that there's somewhere, like in a cruel way, where they've got Don fans actually working as tires, like 4 of them to carry a vehicle?
Sounds like a Flintstones
Yeah, very
type thing.
Flintstones-esque, and then
Yeah.
they take, like, the afternoon off so you can't use your car.
Yeah. Don fan unionize.
So,
Uh,
the battle starts, the Don fan the Don fan union, very nice. The Don fan with its union card, rolls at the Bulbasaur dodges, and, okay, right away, isn't even how, the Pokemon dodge in the movie, like, way more extra than in the
oh,
show? Like,
this is all way better
in the
animated.
show, it'll just, like, cut away and then, like, show maybe, like, a still of it, and here you actually see the Bulbasaur, like, actually, like, do a sick dodge around it, and it's Garlic Bulb to the sky, soaking up sun.
Solar beams, the Dawn fan, knocking it right
Boom!
out. I do imagine that this movie got a lot larger budget than your typical
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
So that's why, I think.
Definitely, definitely.
So yeah, he knocks out the Dawn fan, and then we see that they seem to be being watched
By some
by something.
perverts just
By
watching
some
Ash and
camera.
Bulbasaur hug. Couple of perverts.
Bleh, gross. And it's round 2. What's his name? Raymond sends out a Machamp versus Ash's Squirtle. And so we get this fun little melee sequence. Machamp goes for the kick. The Squirtle dodges, I believe, but then Machamp gets another
The
pick in,
Squirtle
and
jumps
Squirtle.
over his head.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I mean by the dodging is so cool.
Yeah, he ninja dodges away from Machamp and then bubbles. And Bubble takes out Machamp. I don't understand
time.
Bubble in this universe at all. Like,
No,
this
especially
doesn't
where
make any
things like
sense.
kind of look fairly real for a moment, and then you just
Yeah.
see this Machamp getting like a face full of bubbles, and he falls over.
Ridiculous.
But like during how they were moving when they were fighting, I went through this mindset where I was like, how cool would a Pokemon fighting game be? And then I remembered I own Pokken. How cool is
Yeah.
Pokken?
I've played it a couple times. I did not get into it.
I didn't play it a lot either, because it's like not the
Too
most
complicated.
It's not
Any game-
complicated enough.
Any fighting game that's not Smash is too complicated for me.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I hate, my least favorite characters in Smash are Ryu, Ken, and Kazuya.
Oh, come on.
Because they're the combo characters.
Wait, what
and
about
I don't know the button
what
combos.
about Terry Bogard?
Oh, and Terry, yeah.
I love Terry. He's the best.
Go! Is
Exactly.
that what he says? Go?
Yeah.
I got it. I'm smart. And so Raymond sends out his last 3 Pokemon: Pinsir, Venomoth, and Golem. Pikachu goes for this big Ultra Thunder attack, and it takes them all out, even though Golem's a ground type and shouldn't be killed, and we should have gone over this.
That's just
a
how
million
strong
times.
Pikachu is now.
I
Doesn't
hate
even
it.
matter.
I hate it. Misty claims it was a shocking ending.
Yeah, Brock goes, shocking that Ash moved. Ugh.
Yeah. We see through the spyglass, of course. We can't even go the movie without Team Rocket.
They're the
being involved here.
perverts.
They're spying on Ash. No, they're not the perverts. That was a different camera.
Oh, right.
And they say there's another credit on Pikachu's charge account.
Oh.
That's clever. Good one.
That was a good one.
Good
That was
one.
a good one.
Yeah, they're spying. They want
Meowth is starving. He wants to grab some food. If they
Yeah,
go
they
to
want the
steal
food,
Pikachu,
too.
he wants the food.
which,
And
I mean,
James
that stew
says,
looked
I'd
good.
settle for some Pika Chow.
Jessie says that she could cook for them, but Meowth claims that last time she cooked, she wiped out 8 of his 9 lives.
Oh, I actually laughed at that. Is that sad? I
That
wrote
is a
down that
little
I
sad.
laughed. You knocked out 8 of my 9 lives. I was like, classic Meowth.
And then we see where the other camera view was coming from. It is a Fearow flying overhead with a camera strapped around its neck. Have we even
Ooh.
seen Fearow before? We saw
background. There was a. Do you remember the Viridian City episode? Togepi flew into a Fearow's mouth by
Oh,
accident.
right. Yes.
But I don't know if Fearow's really even like featured at all. So.
No. It's a big bird.
Yeah, big bird.
That's it.
But not
That's
big
Fearow.
bird TM. It is just a big bird.
It's Big Bird.
It's
No,
just-
it's Big Bird.
It's big
It's just
bird.
bird.
It's like and Snuffleupagus with cameras.
What a fucking crossover.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And so we go to where this camera feed is being fed to. We're in some weird lab where a woman asks, should we extend an invitation to these trainers as well? Some strange thing is like, yes. And so she sends off an invitation with a Dragonite.
Whoa.
Love this thing.
Yeah, so we see this like futuristic kind of looking windmill, not futuristic exactly, but kind of like fantasy futuristic. It reminds me of architecture in some of the cities in the Xenoblade video games. But yeah, the side of the windmill kind of opens up and a Dragonite carrying like a mailbag flies out. Very cool animation. The Sakuga hits
Hmm.
again, just seeing this Dragonite like move. We've seen Dragonite before, sort of. Like we saw
Yeah.
he was the giant mysterious monster in that one, but this is a regular sized Dragonite. It's not as big as that.
Yeah, that one was the silhouette
The kaiju one, yeah.
kaiju one from the Lighthouse episode. But yeah, this is the first time we're seeing Dragonite proper, I believe. Dragonite is a big friendly orange dragon, and we love Dragonite. Yeah, it's great. I love him. I want to give him a hug.
You
He
love
is
all the
amazing.
Pokemon. I've never
There's
heard
so
you
many good
I've
ones.
never heard you be like, and this Pokemon's a piece of shit and he can lick my butt.
And we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We'll get to some of those. But no, I love Dragonite. He's this big orange dragon, and he's looks so friendly.
And he looks powerful too. He draws that line between he looks strong and friendly at the same time.
His official artwork is literally him waving at you. And it is so cute.
Aww.
I love Dragonite.
Howdy,
So
folks.
he gives the gang their invitation. It's this fancy hologram, and the woman we saw before, in some old fashioned Victorian era outfit. I want to say I don't know much about.
I
outfits,
I
but
don't
that's
know
what I
if
thought
I'd
of
say
first.
Victorian era. I don't know what it is exactly. It's Baroque maybe.
Sure.
It is a very like kind of neo-gothic like at the ball kind of vibe, like a veil. Okay, what I wrote down is it almost reminded me of like how the people dress in the court of the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland.
I've not
Is
seen
that
that
too
in a long
specific?
time.
Well, me
I have
neither,
no
but I've
idea.
played Kingdom Hearts, so.
Oh yeah. I mean, I haven't done that either.
Oh,
So
okay, okay. But yeah, this is coming through a hologram, and it's got Mad Princess Leia energy. She's
Brock
like,
thinks she's cute.
"Hello, trainers, you're my only hope." And of course, yeah, Brock's simping already. I like how he simps in a way though. He's like, "She's really small, but really cute." Like, okay, that was like Zoolander. Like, what is this? A school for ants? If I
And
had
she
that
invites
energy.
them to a special gathering hosted by the world's greatest Pokemon trainer on New Island. And Brock wants to
Ooh.
go so that he can meet her, and that's the whole reason they go.
Yeah, there's a ferry leaving from Old Shore Wharf this afternoon, and you got to reply at once. You coming? You coming or not?
And then yeah, the RSVP is one of those dinky little "Do you like me?" check yes or no that fifth graders pass
Yeah,
around.
yeah. Chicken or a fish?
Do you have any allergies, any food restrictions
That's
that we need
right.
to be aware of?
Yeah. Bringing up +1.
And so Dragonite flies off with the invitation or with the RSVP. But Team Rocket stops it to find out what this is, and they see the yes or no slip. Apparently, they get all the information they need from that. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't really get that either. There must have been some really fine print.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not shown, extremely fine.
But back in the weird windmill place, we see a familiar looking hand with
Oh,
three giant spheres on a
who could
nub.
that be?
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah,
He
so
spins
I
his
was
fan
kind of
around.
surprised they revealed it so quickly, but I guess like if none of the prologues had been made, that hand
Hmm.
wouldn't have told you a lot. But if you've
No.
seen any of the prologues, you're like, oh, so the master's Mewtwo.
Yeah, it would. I think that would have worked a lot better. And so, yeah, he waves his hand around a little bit and gets a massive storm starting out in the
Ooh,
ocean. And speaking of
making
the
a
ocean,
storm.
we cut to under the ocean, and we
Ooh,
see Mew again. Mew awakes in their little
he's
bubble
in a little
and
bubble, floats to
knows
the
something's up.
surface, flies
Something's up.
away.
She can
He's
feel
like
it.
in the Amazon or something.
Yeah. But at the docks, we see all these trainers waiting for the ferry. They are informed
So
it has been canceled.
So sorry, just about this part though, where Mewtwo's making this horrible storm. You know, we've definitely heard music that was either remixes of the show or different game tracks. But right here, this like symphonic music starts to really kick in. That is almost yeah, kind of Disney esque. That was the first time I noticed the score really, and thought it was pretty good.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like very. What's the word I'm looking for?
Cinematic?
Uh,
I don't know, it's like a movie score.
yeah, and it's like brooding,
Brooding? Bombastic?
bombastic, kind of.
I
It's
don't know, I'm just throwing out words. You like any of these?
tension
Tension
filled.
building? Yeah. Yeah.
Tension building. That's probably what I'm trying to think
Cool.
of.
Cool.
And so yeah, so at the docks.
Well, so the gangs are, running in the rain because we're at the docks, and of course the storm has reached the mainland too. And there's this big ferry transit center, which is like where you would line up to get on the ferry, and it's stocked full of trainers. They got their Pokemon out. Everyone's really excited, to get to a new island and get a nerd out about Pokemon. Gang runs in. They're chattering to themselves about how they're really surprised by how quickly the storm came up. Like it feels strange. And then we see Jenny standing beside a woman, also all in blue, a different shade of blue, but this woman also has like blue hair. Well, I guess Jenny does too. But
Yeah, this other woman is I believe her name is Miranda. She's the harbor manager, and she's the one basically saying, yeah, we're not sending out a ferry in these waters. This is a little fucked, guys.
I
Not
like
going out
Jenny and Miranda's dynamic. I didn't know that was her name, but I like their dynamic because Jenny is like kind of no nonsense, and the harbor manager is like weirdly ominous, and she has this like Eastern European accent. So Jenny's like, the ferry's canceled. And then the harbor manager's like, many years ago, the prophets have predicted the winds of water, ancient storms wiping out people. Pokemon tears could revive people, but today there are no
Write it down,
Pokemon
write that down.
tears. Tears,
Revive
write
it.
it down.
Write it down. Write it down again.
And then Jenny's like, yeah, so that's why it's canceled.
Yeah, no. If you're not watching with subtitles, you don't get this woman's name.
Oh, okay.
And it's like that with 3 other characters in this movie.
Oh, wow.
Still yet to be seen. And so, speaking of them, we meet one of them. Is this guy named Fergus? He's the guy.
Oh, get out! The guy with the blue tank top. His name is Fergus.
Blue tank top, Fergus. He says he's just gonna swim there because all of his Pokemon are water type. Doy. Jenny tells him, no, you shouldn't do that because if your Pokemon get hurt, there's no center around here because the Nurse Joy from the center went missing like a month ago.
Oh.
And Brock looks at the missing poster and finds her to be oddly familiar, which they all look the same, Brock. So I
thought that was so funny because, like, okay, they're doing 2 things. Well, they're doing 1 thing here, okay, but they should have been doing 2. And the one thing they're doing is they're supposed to be tying you back to the mysterious woman in the hologram. But if you've seen any Pokemon at all, you would just be thinking of, yeah, that's Joy again. We've seen a million Joys.
No shit, she looks
and
familiar.
And in a movie about clones, Jenny and Joy having an appearance, like, all right, I'm not saying, I'm not saying. You know what I'm saying?
And so these trainers heed no warning. One of them leaves on a Pidgeot. Fergus leaves on his Gyarados. Another leaves on
Fergus and the Gyarados.
Another one, a female trainer leaves on her Dugong.
Yep, nailed it.
And one more on Firo. To this really, speaking of good music, this really triumphant horn theme that I love.
Right, this is more of that orchestral score, right? Kicking in, yeah. Very nice. I mean, if you've got a storm in a movie, you better have an orchestra. And this is again where the harbor manager gets like insanely ominous.
She's like into this.
She walks out in the rain. She's like watching them, and she I wrote down some of the things. She's like, some trainers have no fear. To them, this is another challenge. They follow their hearts, and that's what makes them Pokemon masters.
and then the horns crescendo back up. Oh, I loved this sequence. It was so good. It's fantastic.
This is the same woman, though. They were just before saying how, like, it's irresponsible to leave, and then she walks out. She's like, God, they're badass.
That is exactly what happened. Oh, man. But no, I love this whole sequence. It's the music with the inspirational dialogue from the manager with the high stakes and dangerous circumstances. It all blends together in a beautiful cacophony of beautifulness, for a lack of a better word, because I can't think of fucking words on this podcast for some reason.
Cacophony of beautifulness.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll dissect that later. But yes, it all builds up to what is one of the strangest Pokemon bits of all times when the Vikings show up.
Yeah, so the gang is also determined to get out there, but they don't have a big bird Pokemon or strong enough water Pokemon to take them through this wave. And then very fortunately, the local Vikings pull up on a boat.
Yes, and for those who haven't seen the movie in a while, we're not even kidding. This is a Viking longship now appears with
two Vikings, two regular Vikings.
Two regular Vikings with these very hokey accents. Like, we will get you there. Yeah.
Faster than you can say Farvengugen.
Farvengugen, yeah, what was that?
Farvengugen?
And
amazing.
And the figurehead on this like the maiden piece, what do you call that? The at the front of it is Meowth.
And this isn't even that's not even the whole bit, because they get on the boat and they're starting to go on the ocean, and Brock says, "I didn't know the Vikings still existed." To which Ash replies, "They mostly live in Minnesota."
In Minnesota. That was in the movie.
The NFL is canonical to the Pokemon universe.
The NFL is canonical. It sounds like, okay, that is in Bulbapedia pointing out that that was changed a little bit. In Polish, they said Scandinavia. In
it's
in
different
Sweden,
across
they said Norway,
notes.
and in Norway, and in Denmark, they said Sweden or something like that. It doesn't say what they said in Japanese. Oh, they didn't. They just commented how fortunate they are that a boat showed up.
Seems like a weird thing to not notice. That the local Vikings show up and you don't comment on that.
Exactly.
But no, that whole bit is gold.
We gotta start keeping track of all the things that throwaway jokes imply are canonical in the Pokemon universe. I think it was last week we did
King Henry VIII.
Yeah, King Henry VIII. We declared that divorce is canon in the Pokemon universe, and now the NFL. So
they continue to row across the ocean, but these waves are getting too rough. A massive wave comes along and almost sinks them, and oh my god, we get the reveal. How we could not have seen this one coming. The Vikings are Team Rocket. Oh my god.
Yes, the Meowth strapped to the front of the boat didn't give that away. I loved Meowth's face when the huge wave was coming. It was just like slack-jawed, wide eyes.
Brock says, I knew something about them was fishy, besides the way they smell.
Oh, bird.
Yeah, hitting them where it hurts, Brock.
Oh, right in the pickled herring. You tell him, Brock. But I think this is a good Ash detective moment when his first line when the disguises get washed off, he goes, "Those aren't Vikings." I don't know if it's just me, but I love when Ash like bluntly, says what's going on. Like it's back in the Blaine episodes when he goes, "It's a door," when they see a door. I don't know why, but those little Ash detective moments are beautiful.
Thank you, Ash, for pointing out what is directly in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. So Team Rocket tried to do the motto. Another wave comes, knocks him over. And then we get another, I thought another good piece of music where it's this flute music, but it's very kind of dangerous and tense and high stakes, where Misty sends her Staryu out to...
she's deep under the waves at this point. Brings out the Staryu.
Take her up to the surface. She grabs Brock on the way. Under the water, they find Ash riding up on Squirtle with Pikachu. And then they do this sick sequence where they're kind of surfing over the waves and under the waves and swim underwater.
Yeah,
they finally
it's a little bit scary, actually.
Island.
Like, I remember seeing this as a kid, and it's pretty like, you're like, oh, that would be very scary.
10-year-olds out there, don't be doing this.
No.
Don't try this at home. Meanwhile, Mew is also here, I noted. That's all I
flying
noted,
above the clouds. Yeah, it's just a quick little, hey, Mew, yeah.
We get a lot of these, but I love
whenever
them.
they kind of show Mew, though, throughout these scenes, there's like a Mew theme song that almost plays. It's like a little trinkle of chimes.
Flutes and chimes. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, but
cute.
it's nice because it's like, especially with contrast with the bombastic music of the storm, the light chimes. It's like Mew's not only cemented now as innocence, but he's also peace, right? Like, so we've got that contrast of like the raging storm and the peace of Mew. And considering that the storm came from Mewtwo, it came from his anger, that's a sharp parallel, right? And it's being pushed to us both visually and through the music. So pretty good stuff.
Yeah, and so they've arrived at New Island, and they are greeted by the lady from the invitation. By golly, and Brock recognizes her immediately. He thinks it is the missing Nurse Joy.
Oh, is that the missing Nurse Joy? She's got mighty dead eyes. She has really dead eyes. That's what I noticed here, like just blank.
Yeah, she says that she's always dwelled on this island in service of my master. And we get some mysterious music. Ooh, ooh. And then she is taking them up to the main building, and we tilt down, and Team Rocket surfaces on Weezing.
On Weezing.
I believe Weezing is buoyant.
He's buoyant.
I buy that.
Yeah. And Weezing is like really tired. So it's like they just would have floated up and down on Weezing through the storm. Like, and Weezing couldn't really like move through the water very well. So.
Yeah, and we saw a few episodes ago in the mermaid episode, Arbok can swim. Why didn't they use Arbok?
Yeah, they totally forgot Arbok can swim.
Ugh. But back to Mew, who is being very cute. She's arrived at New Island, and she sees the windmill, and we get that cute, whimsical flute and chime music as she plays on the windmill, and oh my god, it's so cute.
Yeah, Mew is like a happy kitten, like just playing with a ball of yarn. That is exactly Mew playing with the windmill. It's like bouncing on the windmill. Yeah, it's very cute.
It is disgustingly adorable.
Disgustingly cute. You'll throw up.
And so the lady leads them into a large room where 3 of the other trainers that left were here. Notably, we see the trainers that left on Gyarados, Pidgeot, and Dugong, but not the trainer that left on Fearow. She is nowhere to be seen.
She died.
She's dead. I'm pretty confident.
Lost at sea.
Mm-hmm. But the woman notes that only the trainers brave enough to weather the storm are worthy in her master's eyes, to which the gang, puts 2 and 2 together that the storm was a test.
Crazy.
And she instructs them to let their Pokemon out and says, "It won't be long until my master's intentions are clear." Red flag. That is a red fucking flag. Get out of there.
Yeah, it's pretty eerie. Pretty eerie stuff.
When they say, "My master's intentions will be clear." Nah, get out.
Master intention. Actually, I knew when it was a master,
Yeah.
You're like, I don't trust a master. That's not good.
And then
outside, we
Team
see
Rocket,
Team Rocket outside. They're left out of the door, so they see like a sewage line kind of leading out. They love the sewers. But what's cute here though is, of course, Mew starts playing kind of behind their heads. And when they look behind, Mew's gone. And every time that we see Mew appear behind their heads, and this happens for a little bit, the Mew theme plays.
I love it. It's so whimsical and fun.
Oh, it's very nice.
It's cute. So back inside the building, she instructed them to let out all the Pokemon. Ash let out his starters. No Charizard, though. And again, Pidgeotto getting the shaft. Pidgeotto gets nothing.
All of the Pokemon, quote unquote, are apparently, for the gang, are apparently just Pikachu, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Togepi, Vulpix, Psyduck. That's it.
And Onix. Not Onix.
Not Onix. No. Not Geodude.
Or Zubat.
No, or Staryu. Or Staryu. Well, no, she left
Starmie and Cerulean, yeah. We meet the other trainers that made it. Along with Fergus, we have Corey, who is in the sport jacket.
Oh, is that the Pidgeotto guy?
He flew over on his Pidgeot, who he calls Pidgeotto.
Oh, weird. He says it was easy. It was a breeze.
And he shows off the rest of his team, which include a Scyther, Hitmonlee, Venusaur, Sandslash, and Rhyhorn. Good team.
Right. So I'm going to ask you, you're going to go over the rest of the teams, but I want you to do a recap after. What is the best team of the 3 with game mechanics in mind?
And so Fergus, we meet his team, along with his Gyarados. He has a Seadra, Vaporeon, Tentacruel, Golduck, and Nidoqueen, which originally he said all of his Pokemon were water type. Nidoqueen's not a water type, Fergus. It's blue, but it's not a water type.
All my Pokemon are blue. That's like sports drinks. How there's one that, they'll all be fruit flavored, and then there's one that's like blue.
So he rode in on Gyarados, and then we meet Nisha, who, again, you wouldn't know any of these characters' names if you
Nope.
weren't watching with subtitles. She wrote in, she's the one that wrote in on Dugong, and she also has Wigglytuff, Ninetales, Vileplume, Rapidash, and Blastoise.
So these teams all look pretty hype, especially compared to Ash's little sad state. So yeah, which of these teams do you think would be the best balance, the best competitively? I'm thinking not the water team.
No, I don't think
It's
so.
too lopsided. So it's
yeah, there's
between
too many shared
Misha's
weaknesses.
and what'd you call Pidgeymans?
Corey.
Corey.
So I would probably say Nisha, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, she's
tough.
got the Blastoise, she's got the Rapidash, Ninetales.
It's tough because she has like Rapidash isn't that great. Like it's
Okay.
okay. It's not great. Same with
So on
Dugong.
Corey's team, what are his good ones? Is Hitmonlee good? Venusaur
Hitmonlee,
would be his best
Scyther,
bet.
and Venusaur, but Pidgeot, Sandslash, I think, and Rhyhorn not being fully evolved drag it down a little bit.
Okay.
Nisha, Rapidash, and Dugong drag it down a little bit. I don't remember how good Wigglytuff was. Ninetales was fairly good in Gen 1, I think.
I think so, yeah.
It got nerfed when the special stat split in two. That's a
Oh.
tough one.
Oof.
I'm gonna say Corey. Actually, I think Corey has probably the best team.
Whoa, you changed. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Well, there
Just
you have
thinking
it,
about
folks,
it.
from the Pokemon genius himself.
But feel free to run simulations. I would love.
Yeah, we love a
to
good
see some-
simulation.
Give us some statistics, some analytics, please.
Oh, please.
And so the lights darken, and the greatest Pokemon master in the world is ready to reveal themselves.
Oh my god.
And I believe that's a 20-minute mark.
Yeah, cliffhanger.
Bum, bum, bum.
That's where we're going to leave the episode. We are going to split
How could
this
we?
into two. So that was the first two chunks. And then we will continue and do the remaining 2 20-minute pieces of the movie in a part 2 episode that will come 1 week after.
Unprecedented.
You know, this was a luxurious stew of a movie, and we did not want to condense it into anything other than the full experience. You know, we wanted to give you time to shove your whole head in the pot and swim around. So that's the TKaD motto.
Yeah, and we didn't want to put it in one bit because I didn't want to edit a 3-hour podcast in 1 week. So there you go.
And I have COVID and I would die.
Yeah,
so
no, it'd be a little rough.
Literary hour. And so when I do a literary hour, it will be just like on the most recent
Previous
20 minutes. Yeah, the previous 20 minutes, exactly. First off, going to reference a movie. The movie version of Clue, the board game, where all of the guests are invited to a house by a mysterious person, and this is actually a big trope, actually, where there's like a mysterious person in the background who invites a bunch of people to something, and then they all show up. It's a huge mystery trope, which is why they did it in the movie version of Clue, the board game. But my actual one will be the Agatha Christie novel, And Then There Were None. I don't know if this is exactly where that trope started, but TVTropes.com seems to think it is. It was a 1939 novel that's had play and film adaptations, and all of them have taken liberties with the plot, and there's even been different titles given to it. But mostly at the core of it is that there's 10 people, 10 strangers, who receive invitations to an island, okay? And getting to the island, like they're told like it's kind of like a getaway or a vacation. And when they arrive, a mystery unfolds that the person who invited them there isn't seen, but there's a recording that then tells them that they're having to investigate a murder. And during this time, somebody else is killed, and there's an actual murder going on. And they have to figure it out. They're not sure which one of the guests or if the person invited was the murderer. Now, that isn't exactly what happens here, but that trope of mysterious person in the background invites a bunch of strangers, all show up and are like, what the hell's going on? That kind of has grounds in this sort of like mystery pulp novel, eh?
Yeah, I'll pull it to something more modern, too.
Sure.
The wonderful ABC series that only lasted for 1 season, criminally, Who Done It, which was a reality game show where a bunch of strangers got invited to a mansion for this game, and one of them was the murderer. It's great. And one of them was the murderer, and they have to investigate these murders.
It's a game show?
these
It's like a
TV show
murder
yeah.
mystery game show?
It's a murder mystery game show.
Oh, cool.
Where every week they started off with murdering one of the contestants who knew that she was there to be the first victim.
Oh.
And disclaimer, they don't actually murder the contestants. just so you know.
That would be a very weird twist. Yeah.
But they go through this format of you get to explore one of 3 locations: the last known whereabouts, the crime scene, or the morgue, where you can investigate the body of the person that died. So you do that, you investigate one of those areas, and then you kind of like dish out your clues and whatnot with people that you trust, and then you go into the riddle section where you solving a series of riddles. You can find like the smoking gun, which kind of pieces things together, and then you have to state your case to the murderer, and the person who does the worst job at stating the case as to how the murder was carried out is the next victim, and the cycle repeats. And the murders, quote unquote murders, are done very grandiose and are very, very cool TV to watch. And I loved this show, and it's a crime, pun intended, that they did not bring it back for season 2.
I've never even heard of it, so that's interesting.
Fantastic.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Well, okay, to kind of explain one of them. One of the early ones. The thing was that everyone in the manor was given a pajama set to wear for nights, and the person who did the worst, unknowingly, was given a pair of very, very fuzzy socks with this pajama set to wear. And in the middle of the night, the fire alarm went off, which made everyone get out of bed. And the victim in the fuzzy socks runs across the shaggy carpet, touches the doorknob, which is soaked in kerosene.
Whoa.
Which the static electricity sparks the kerosene, igniting the also kerosene covered clothes on fire. And so he comes running out of the mansion on fire, jumping into the pool, and he's dead. And it's incredible.
Okay, but he didn't actually get on fire.
It was a stunt double.
Oh.
But they set the stunt double on fire.
Oh, poor stunt double.
She was fantastic, though. It was a great job. And it's just it's a good show. I loved it, and I wish it came back.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Anyway.
So that's that. What is that show called again?
Who Done It?
That is Who Done It, as referencing Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, as referencing Mewtwo Strikes Back.
And of course, there's a British butler who's hosting the whole thing.
Is his name Jeeves?
Giles.
Oh, Giles. Well, that's another good one. Yeah, Buffy Vampire Slayer. Yeah, I got you.
It's great. Anyway, we should do a rewatch of that show. It's only 8
if we do a rewatch of one of your weird reality shows, we're also rewatching Fast and Furious franchise.
Maybe that'll be a side one. We're tired of Pokemon
these will be side mini series. Okay, we're gonna pour the next 20 minutes.
And like your literary hour, we're basing this solely on the last 20 minutes, correct?
Correct.
Okay. First category for the last 20 minutes is the Team Rocket motto. So they try it, but the waves
they try it,
take
and then
out.
Meowth is like, I'm cutting you short. You know what? I love it because I fucking hate that motto by now. I like it when it gets cut short. 8. Giving it an 8.
8? Really?
Yes.
I was thinking like 4.
They were Vikings. They got drowned in water. It was hilarious.
Yeah,
they tried to say the motto. It didn't work. It was amazing.
They didn't do the motto until they were out of the Viking costume.
It was a beautiful motto celebration. 8.
I'm saying 4 because it was funny, but not that funny. So that's a 6 for that one. And the second category will be the originality for the last 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. I mean, the tropiness is in that sort of mystery novel setting, and this is what we do. So that's a heavy trope, but it's original for Pokemon. So do you think you would tackle that from that for Pokemon perspective? I think you would.
Yeah. No, I look at originality and repetition.
In which case, I would bump it high. I would bump it really high. 9.
But I knock it down. I'd knock it down a little bit because there is always a fucking storm in Pokemon.
Oh yeah, there's always a fucking storm.
It's always a storm. So that's 7.
Okay.
So that's an 8 for that. 6 for Team Rocket motto. Jelly Donut got 5.5, and Not How the Gamers got 2.5. So we're moving up.
We're moving up
on those categories.
We're bringing it back.
We're still not gonna look at an average yet. Not until next week.
No, this is such an RNG shoot. You know, we want this to score high, but we could pull Anime Mom and boom, it's all over.
That's the thing. The scope of the movie allows for the forepaw. The forepaw actually spoke to me. He gave me a message earlier today.
Oh, cool.
That the movies need a larger sample size. So
right.
That's why we're doing this. It's all.
Right.
I had a vision.
You prayed at the temple
the shrine
of
the
forepaw, the shrine of the forepaw.
It's in my closet.
Right, and it had nothing to do with the ayahuasca you did. Just the shrine.
It's not about the extreme amounts of ketamine I'm on right now.
Like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Topical. Anyway, well, if we're leaving it off there, that is it for this week.
Right. So next episode, we will be resuming the rest of the movie. We're going to do that as probably 2 20-minute chunks as well. And there's going to be lots to dive into there. So strap yourself in. This was a dense one. That'll be a dense one. Mewtwo Strikes Back. Heck of a good Pokemon time. Well,
yeah. Normally I ask if you want to know what we're doing next week, but
I already know.
I think we've covered.
We've
that,
been debating it for months now, days.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we're doing next week. You know, how you like this episode? Chime us in the comments. This would be a great time to kind of get some discussion going too, especially, you know, with the lead up to the next episode. That's kind of the big finale. This is a celebration of what TKaD is so far. You know, this is kind of our biggest event so far. And so I hope it feels like a celebration. Right. So leave comments on the YouTube channel. That's the Hydra Leech channel. You can reach us at 2kill@delibird@gmail.com.
Give me that dopamine.
Give us that dopamine. You can find us anywhere for the audio format. You can find us anywhere fine podcasts are downloaded. Please leave reviews, likes, if that's possible. Set your on Spotify, you can set it to auto download. That also helps the channel. Intro and outro music is 80 Synthwave by Alexi Action. Anything else, Kellan?
I'm just excited to finish this movie off because the ending. I'm gonna have a lot to say about this ending.
Yeah, you can, if you want, you could just monologue like a good 20 minutes. I'll be like, preach, speak it, send it, boy. Tell them like it is.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Spread the good word of Mewtwo.